So,
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Letty. I think Allie's joining. Just let some people join in with us.
all right.
Okay. This morning, good morning, Allie. I think you were connecting when I said that. This morning I am joined by a guest, but I'll go through our normal spiel and then we'll dive into some marketing for new business. So if you are new finding us on YouTube or podcast for the first time, we are coaching businesses for success. Normally I am joined with Megan. So I'm Sherry and Megan normally joins me on this call. She's out today. But we talk about all things bookkeeping. So you can find us on YouTube, podcasts, but we both run our own bookkeeping businesses. We give you all the behind the scenes, what's working, what's not, what we're trying, what we just tried and maybe failed. If it is useful to you, we share it. So we're open books if you have questions. I truly believe that if you attended this call every week, you'd be well on your way to hitting your goals with your bookkeeping business. Q&A does happen at the end of these calls. So if you have any questions or anything that's keeping you stuck from growing your bookkeeping business, we will give you an opportunity to chime in at the end of the call where you can unmute, show your face, and ask those questions. I will also be checking the chat. So if you have questions for me or our guest today, feel free to put it in the chat wherever you're listening, and I will do my best to see those things. If you want to join us live, you can use the Zoom link and jump in to the Zoom link. And actually, I will post that link for those of you watching in just a second. Wanted to share a quick post from Lonnie. She said, so thankful to have the support of all the coaches in CB4S. Running a bookkeeping business isn't easy with so many different situations that arise that I haven't run into before, whether it's a payroll issue, an e-commerce client with software that I'm not familiar with, or just help troubleshooting. There's sure to be a coach who can help. Additional support with marketing and mindset, co-working calls, and flexible times to schedule one-to-ones are just a few more reasons how this group has helped me continue to run a successful bookkeeping business. So yay, Lonnie. I'm so glad that you're getting the help you need. We say it all the time that running your own business, there's no coworker next door that you can just go ask questions to. That's really what this group is. So you're not alone. Being an entrepreneur can feel so lonely at times anyway. So you don't have to be alone. If you would like to grab this URL link, there is a calendar with all of our upcoming free calls. This call, for example, we have a boot camp coming up next week, the 28th through the 30th. It is a 3-day, kind of a short boot camp. So if you're looking to really jumpstart your business this summer, definitely join us there. Allie will post throughout the call today the link to register for that boot camp if you have not already registered. We would love to have you there. And it is a free boot camp. Not sure if I said that, but it is free. So just join. Come hang out with us. Okay. So today we're joined with Steele. And Steele, I don't know how to say your last name. You want to say your last name?
No, it's completely fine. Nobody knows how to say my last name. It's one of the mysteries of the world. My last name is Tortorich.
Okay. I
Yeah.
would have botched it. Thank you.
No, it's fine. Everybody, it's a rough one.
So he's joining us to kind of just talk about marketing. He is a website designer, and actually, I'll let you introduce yourself. But we brought him on today because we have so many new bookkeepers who are just getting all kinds of advice. And we talked last week about you can have too many hands in the pot, and that's really true with marketing. And so, while we don't want to give you too many hands in the pot, we do want to give you different perspectives so that you can pick one and then move forward. So we just wanted to hear from him how he would recommend a new business owner. How do they start setting themselves up for success? There we go. So Steele, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and kind of why you can speak to this area?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. First thing I want to say is great introduction to your business. And I want to tell your audience as well. I am not personally a bookkeeper, but I have worked with some bookkeepers with their marketing plans. What our company does, and we're called Atypical Marketing, got it behind me as well here. We are a full scale digital marketing company. So we focus mainly in the realm of, if it's online or it's in cyberspace, we can help you market it, whether that's having a website up that looks really attractive for, new clients to find you, whether that's search engine optimization, whether that's Google ads, Facebook ads. Our company pretty much facilitates all of these services.
And I think that's really helpful because one of the questions we get is, should I start running Facebook ads and should I have a website?
Yeah, sure. So I would say as soon as possible. Now, obviously, some people would go into business with cost restraints. There's things to think about financially, but as soon as possible, I think a website is really foundational for number one, credibility. People trust businesses that have websites. If a business does not have a website, I mean, I'm not saying you cannot make sales. Of course, you can make sales if you have a good social media page, or even if you're starting with friends and family. But as soon as humanly possible, it really does. It really does kind of move you up a level whenever they see that you're a legitimate company. And I think having a website goes a long way with that. And let's say that, for instance, budgeting wise, a website is not feasible. You can go to Google and actually sign up for a free Google My Business. It's a free service on Google. Whenever somebody searches bookkeeper and they put your city in there, so let's say you're a bookkeeper in Austin, Texas, then all of the bookkeepers in Austin, Texas who are on this list in Google, they're going to pop up. So you definitely want to be on this list as well. And again, this is a free service with Google. I highly recommend looking into Google My Business, or I think they call themselves Google Business Profile nowadays. So highly recommend that if you don't have a website. And I think, Sherry, you said you asked me about ads.
So we get asked, some bookkeepers will find us and they're like, well, I've spent so much money on ads, marketing is just not working. So this business is not working. What would you say to that?
Got it. Okay, so if they're running ads, and it depends on whether it's Google ads or social media ads. The biggest thing we do is we test different strategies. We don't go in guns blazing, spending a lot in marketing up front. We start very slow. I'm talking like $5 per day, $10 per day. And we just test different types of ads. And really testing is something that people don't talk enough about. I'm not saying you can't have success if you just run one blanket ad and go with it, but you really have to go look at the numbers and see, how is that ad performing? If I change this one little thing, is my ad going to get more clicks? Is it going to get more engagement? So there's really a lot of steps to it. So if somebody's ads are not working, I would say really dive deep into the numbers, and change different variables here and there, and see, which ad is going to perform better based on those variables. I mean, even small things, like for instance, we had a client where all we did was change the border color. We made it like a neon green color just around the picture. That actually increased engagement by, I think, like 40%. So even like very, very small tweaks to your ad can make a big difference.
Absolutely. So I know when I started out on technically a platform called Upwork, but then as soon as I got a few clients, the only thing I really did was jump over to Google My Business. And then I think I did a Squarespace website because I needed a website. But I didn't, and I did some blogs and things like that, but I don't think it did much of anything. It like looked like an old CPA firm website, like I was 80 years old or something. So it was bad. But just being on Upwork and Google My Business, because both of them were search traffic, I was getting traffic on Upwork and they kind of fed each other. That was almost enough to get traffic. Just posting on Google My Business every day, every couple of days, and because you can kind of use that as a social media platform. How would you recommend a new bookkeeper use Google My Business, or should they just create a profile and leave it, or should they be like driving traffic to it in terms of posting and being active on it?
Got it. Yeah, that's really a great question, and that's good insight as well. And just to piggyback briefly off of what you just said, sometimes whenever you're putting things out there online, it might seem like nobody's looking at what you're doing. Like for instance, if you have a Facebook page and people, you're posting every single day, and you're getting like maybe one or two likes on a post. Don't get into the habit of thinking that just because you're not getting a ton of visibility or likes on your post, that people are not reading what you're doing and that it's not making an impact. Um, Typically, people will want to look at different they're going to want to research you before they go with you a lot of times. So they'll check your social medias, then they might Google your name, and then they might look for reviews and things like that. So all of this, intertwine really, it causes kind of a cascading effect to where you get more clients, even if you don't really see, people engaging as much as you would like. So I just wanted to say that first, but circling back to Google My Business, or I think they call themselves Google Business Profiles nowadays. I think they just changed their name. So with this, again, it's a free service. All you do is put your address in, and then they're going to send you a postcard in the mail. Sometimes they want a video. Just follow their instructions to get listed on this profile. And once you're linked up there and you're official, enter all of your business information, hours, enter anything pertinent to who you serve, and also go really heavy with adding a lot of pictures and a lot of photos. Even if the photos are like more stock images, because I know with bookkeepers it's kind of difficult to find like action shots. I mean, I guess you can kind of go on a desk and write some stuff down or something, but put as many photos as you can with good captions. And they also have a feature where you can actually make, it's kind of like social media posts, but you can make these social media posts to your Google My Business profile. And in this, I would add things like, explaining services you offer, but also adding some cities that you might, engage with. I know a lot of y'all are, national, but I do think it's really important to also have kind of a home base if you're using Google My Business, because when people search for these things, it's all location based. So if you're in Austin, Texas, for instance, and you work nationwide, you serve all the states, that's awesome. But you can also get a lot of people locally if you do this correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. I listed, so I was nationwide as far as who I served, but as far as my profile, I made it very local. So on Upwork, I was a Phoenix bookkeeper, and I was actually listed as one of the top 10. I was like one of the top 3 bookkeepers in Phoenix. And so what I did on my Google My Business profile at that time, obviously you said Google Business.
Yeah. Google Business Profile. I think they changed over like a month ago, and I can't quit saying Google My Business. It just sounds better. I don't know why they changed it. Yeah.
So with that one, I, put all the surrounding metro areas that I served so that I would get, because it was, so like if you're like Dallas or Austin, putting those surrounding, even with Austin, putting Houston or Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of those smaller, like obviously Louisville is on the other side of Texas, but like putting some of the smaller cities around you that you can serve. Especially and I kind of focused on where are most of my contractors living, like where are my like most of the business owners actually living. And I knew that there was a big kind of business hub in Mesa, Arizona. Mm-hmm. So like I made sure to put that, and I made sure to put like another kind of suburb that I knew was really heavily geared towards business owners.
Yeah,
so you might not know that, but that's, you can guess. Where do you want to kind of, if someone's looking, bookkeeper near me?
Exactly. And just like you were saying, don't neglect these smaller towns. A lot of these larger cities are very saturated, but if somebody searches for a city, let's say, I don't know, 15 miles away, that's population 20,000 or so, That's still a lot of people, and you have a better chance of being shown there as a beginner than necessarily a big city where people are pumping a lot of money into marketing. So yeah, to your point, definitely don't neglect the small cities around the metro area, because they're going to type in, bookkeeper near me. That's it. Just like you said, that's usually what they're going to type, or bookkeeper in this city. And that's been the most popular search term for almost any kind of service contractor of any type. We work with a lot of people in roofing, a lot of people in plumbing, electricians and things like that. And it's always the same. It's always, I have this need and this is where I'm located. Help me out. And that's pretty paramount to getting, found on Google My Business, just making sure those cities are listed correctly.
And then you also, well, real quick question then, would you limit the number of cities you post? I don't remember if there's like a limit. I think I had like 5 cities on mine.
Got it. So there's not a hard limit. What I'd recommend is probably do, five to 15. You don't want to spam Google. I think Google is a pretty, sophisticated program where they can tell if you list in like 100 different cities, it just doesn't really add up. So yeah, I would say anywhere from like, 5, 10, maybe 15 at the most. Just list them out. And I would even go like population wise. So, if you're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, list, Baton Rouge, and then put the smaller towns around it, like Gonzales, Lafayette, Hammond, Denham Springs, and put all of those. And I would almost go in order of population if you can, because it seems like the higher up on that list of cities that they allow you to list, the higher up the city is, the more importance it has in the ranking system.
That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And then we also talked about services that you can list on there. And is there, like, should they say bookkeeping, or should they start listing like accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll? How detailed should we get on services?
Yeah, great question, Sherry. So I would go as detailed as possible, because there are certain people that type in very, very long keywords because they want like very specific services for whatever their needs are. For instance, in our business, we get people that type things like responsive website design for XYZ business, and they like really elaborate in Google search. And a lot of people have found us because they're typing these really long tail keywords, and our SEO is picking up on this. So it works the exact same way with Google Business Profile. So as much detail as you can give it and as specific as you can be, a lot of times this will pick up people that are looking for a very specific answer to their problems.
So these start to give you like an online presence. So setting up your, Facebook business page, your profiles, saying, hey, I'm a bookkeeper, putting yourself out there on the profiles. So the old Google My Business, Facebook. So you're setting up your online presence. But then what we find is bookkeepers are naturally introverts. We don't like talking to people, and we almost neglect actually saying, hey, friends, family, this is actually what I do. This is actually what I'm up to. I told you earlier that my father-in-law still told me, now 4 years in, he doesn't know what I do, because I'm pretty sure he just thinks I do taxes. And I keep telling him I don't do taxes. So I think he just has no clue what I do. Other family members know what I do, but so it's not all of your family that's going to know or care, but they can be some of your best, like eyes on the ground who needs your services for you. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, how would you tell people to go about talking to people when that's the last thing they want to do?
Yeah, amazing question. I can speak from this with a good bit of authority, and here's why. So I naturally have a stutter. Sometimes it comes out. Even right now, you've probably heard it a couple of times pop out, maybe not. But I was as big of an introvert as you can imagine. When I started my business 3 years ago, and granted, I'm not in bookkeeping, I'm a marketer and a website designer, but it was very, very difficult. If somebody called me, I would panic I would usually send it to voicemail, send a text message and say, hey, I'll call you back in a little bit. And it was because I had to gain my composure to even speak with, confidence and speak in a certain way to what the client wanted. Eventually all that went away. It's no big deal. Anybody can call me and I can speak, at length about pretty much any subject about marketing. But when you're starting out, there is a lot of anxiety about, how you're being perceived. There's a lot of imposter syndrome where you know a lot about your subject, but sometimes it's hard to convey it to somebody else. And so it's going to take some time to get out of your comfort zone. But once that happens, you're going to notice your income is going to increase because you can speak with authority on all of the stuff that you already know. So if anybody's in that situation where they're starting out and it's really hard to speak with people, just take baby steps at first, but realize that as you get more experience and the faster you get out of that, the better it's really going to be for your business.
I read a book a year ago, called Know Exactly What to Say. And in this book, I forget the author, I can pull it up if anybody wants that information. But he says, say it as if, but you might not be interested. Like, so if outside your friends and family where you're just telling them, hey, this is what I'm doing. If someone says, hey, what do you do? And now you're on the spot for your elevator speech, right? And you're like, that's the last thing I want to do. I'm in the grocery store. Don't ask me for my elevator speech. Just simply phrase it. This might not be for you, but what I do, or, not downplay it. Like, don't downplay what you're doing, but it might not be for them, but this is what you do. And just kind of recognizing that it might not be for them and that's okay, but they asked you and it's an opportunity to share because they might know someone. So it kind of takes the pressure off of how to say your elevator speech might not be for them. I think that's
right. Honestly, I love that. I think that's actually pretty brilliant. And part of it for me when I was starting out, I had it in my head, okay, everybody I talk to, I have to sell them, which is ridiculous. You don't have to sell everybody you talk to. Really, I think sales is a lot more subtle than people realize. And just having conversations, making connections, and really at the end of the day, just being a human, that's really the most important thing. And that's how you connect with people and build a network over time. So, never feel like you have to go into a situation trying to sell everybody. You're just having basic conversations, friendly conversations, no expectations for either person. So, that's how I would approach situations. And once you get comfortable talking about your business with friends and family, people that you can trust, kind of your really deep inner circle, then you may want to reach out to people that are more like on the acquaintance level. A recommendation I read somewhere, and I don't even know who to quote for this, but it's really good advice. They said, find 100 people on your social media. It could be old classmates. It could be people from old jobs you've had, just a bunch of professional people that you're acquaintances with. And just message them on Facebook. Hey, how's it going? I saw you guys just had a baby. Congratulations. Or, mention something in their profile that's going on in their life. And then once you do that, just, casually mention, no sales pitch whatsoever. Hey, by the way, I'm doing this. I don't expect you to use this service. I have no idea if you have a need for this service, but I know you talk to a lot of people. If you wouldn't mind, just kind of extending my name out there if you happen to talk to anybody about this. So you do this 100 times. Eventually, it's going to pop up in conversation somewhere. I mean, think of all the conversations you have on a daily basis, of a wide range of subjects. At some point, people are going to start recommending you. So, after you get comfortable with friends and family, this is something I did with a good bit of success. And I sell business to business just like you guys do. So you may find success doing this as well.
Yeah, I remember when I started my business, I really didn't tell any people, but so within like 3 months, it was tax season or whatnot. So I started kind of posting on social media a little bit. And I remember after I decided, okay, I'm gonna actually do this thing, like it's gonna stick around. I identified like 3 business owners that were in my inner circle of I want their bookkeeping. I think the mistake we think sometimes is we're going to get their bookkeeping in that year. I now have all 3 of their bookkeeping, but it took 3 years for them to see stuff that I was doing, because I didn't ever go directly, do you need a bookkeeper? It was just, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I help. And so I'd share wins that I was getting for clients, or just that I was doing it like, hey, this is a tip or whatever. And if you go stalk my Facebook profile, you'll see I'm not super active on Facebook, just enough to be active in my like inner circle community. And those have been my biggest referral, because my inner circle is like really big on communicating on Facebook. So like I didn't have to do much to be seen, if that makes sense. Like I didn't have to spam my Facebook for them to know, oh yeah, she does something with money. And so anytime someone had a money problem, I was the go-to. Anytime someone had a tax problem, I was the go-to. Whether I could help them or not, I could point them in the right direction. And so I welcomed all of those conversations. I can't help you, but this person can. So I was just got a money problem, something about money, and I would just get pointed out. And so over time, as bookkeepers changed, or one of them called me up during tax season and said, is this what you do? Yes, this is what I do. And she signed the same day, because she was like, I never want to do this again. And I was like, don't blame you. The other 2 were larger companies. And they came to me later after something happened with their current bookkeeper. But I never had a conversation up until the point that they came to me and said, can you help with this? So I think now if you need money quicker, we're going to have to push that a little bit harder. I just know that those were friends that I didn't want to push into being like, I didn't want to sell into. I just wanted them to recognize I was the solution to their problem when they needed it. And so when they needed it, I was their first go-to. I was their first phone call. And that's what social media, that's what having those conversations really does.
Yeah, I think all of that's a great point. There are different strategies. I mean, I like your approach. Your approach was basically just position yourself as an authority on this. Don't be pushy. I think all that's really, really good advice. And then over time, when you continue doing something for the long term and you're sticking around, people have a subconscious perception that, okay, this person's at least good enough to have stayed in business this long, so they're doing something right. It's almost like an unspoken rule.
Yep.
The other thing I'll say is, if you're constantly posting on your personal social media page or your business social media page, it takes 8 to 12 times, and there's been studies on this. It takes 8 to 12 touches, that's what they call them, of a person to see what you're doing and then feel comfortable enough to do business with you. So this is kind of the power of social media. When I first started my business, I was basically just, posting, hey, we do this for this price. Here's an example, yada, yada, yada. I didn't get very many hits at first. It was pretty discouraging. Now I'm doing this officially for 3.5 years. And when I make a post, I get messages. And really the posts are not that different than what they used to be. It's just that once you have some staying power and once people see that you're going to be around for a while, it gives you an extra boost of credibility. So again, going back to a previous point, even if at first you're not getting a lot of reactions on your post, please believe people are still seeing that and they're still reading it. And it's getting in their subconscious mind that, hey, wait a minute, this person does this, so I'm going to wait and see if they stick around. I'm going to wait and see if circumstances line up where I actually need their services.
But then for those that are listening and are saying, yeah, great, that worked for you. 3 years later, I need clients today, because I kind of didn't address that. Absolutely what Steele is saying. He's saying, talk to people. That's how you get clients. You talk to people, because someone, like in the instance that I just shared, those 3 people didn't need me right then. One of them came to me about a year in, the following year. So a year in, at the end of the year, she came to me after seeing my stuff for probably about 6 months is when I started posting. But if you need clients today, the method is still to talk to people, because they didn't necessarily need me, but someone else might have been in their conversation who needed me, right? Yeah, so the best way to get clients today is to talk to people, whether that's in person at networking groups or online in like DMs. But it's not necessarily like, after I had my first child, week 1, I received a message from someone. Congrats on your newborn. Do you want to sell my product? Like, you must clearly need money. And I was like, what are you doing? That is not the way to be in the DMs. But and she was like an acquaintance, so she reached out to her acquaintances, but it was immediately like, let me sell you on my product. It wasn't, do you need money, are you looking for a side hustle? It was just, you clearly need a side hustle, here you go. And I'm like, no, I don't want to earn money right now. I have a baby I'm playing with. So that's not the way to do it, but just reconnecting with the people from high school, your friends, your family. Like, the benefit of Facebook, if you look at it, is you've probably been on Facebook for a while, since it's been around for a while, and you've added friends over the years, just casually. That's the same goal with business owners, but like reaching back out to those casual connections and saying, hey, this is what I do, just exactly what Steele said, starts to get you conversations. More conversations you have lead to clients, or networks that need clients. I know we just had someone in the group who started doing just that. She started having some in-person conversations. She was kind of stuck on the social media side. She wasn't getting traction because she wasn't having conversations. So she started having conversations in person, and she wound up finding a bookkeeper who was retiring, who's now just sending her clients. She's exploded her business just because she took a risk. And in one of the first 10 people she talked to was a success, right? But it could take you 100. It's okay.
Yeah, right. And to your point, it's all about being, especially with acquaintances, very subtle. Everybody has had the MLM person in their DMs saying, "Hey, what's up?" And then, "Oh, nothing. How you been? Good. Hey, you want to sell this thing I do? It's amazing. Let's have a meeting." It just, number one, it's not effective. That's the most important part. It's not an effective strategy. Number two, if you ever go into any other venture and you got to contact these people, they already have that bad taste in their mouth, about you. So you don't want to do that. The biggest thing is having very authentic conversations, and then very subtly just saying, "Hey, by the way, I do this now. I don't want you to buy from me, but if you hear from anybody who needs the service, please pass my name along." And pretty much anybody would do this for you. Even if a stranger came to me and said, "Hey, can you pass my name along? I do this and I have credibility, or at least something." I'd probably pass their name along if I talk to somebody at the gym who needs that service. So I think that's a pretty safe bet. It's pretty low risk, and that's personally how I started, and that's some of the best advice I've gotten really in the early days. So if you need sales like now, like today, just talk to people. That is the biggest thing. Get out of your comfort zone. Definitely don't stay in your head. People don't take you as seriously as you think they do. Just talk to everybody, make connections, and you really never know what can happen by doing that.
So to the bookkeeper who's listening, saying, yeah, but I've tried that, what would be is there a number of conversations you would say, okay, let's try again, try to have XYZ conversations a day or a week? Would you put a number on it?
Yeah, sure. I can put a number on this. So Gary Vaynerchuk, who is a business whiz, kind of a social media, influencer, if you want to call him that. Look, love him or hate him, but he has great advice on this. He says every day spend $2, and what that means is give your 2 cents to basically 100 people until it adds up to $2. And what he's saying is you can comment on people's posts, with something, you can message them. Really, as long as you're communicating 100 times per day, eventually you're going to get enough traction to where something is going to happen to you. Now, look, when I say contacting, it could be like you're liking somebody's post. You're giving like a phrase or a sentence as a comment, or direct messaging counts as well. And this could be on Facebook or Instagram. And over time, this is going to snowball so big in your favor, but it does take consistency and it does take some discipline to actually do that per day. Myself, I'm working on basically making 50 videos per day and sending them out to potential clients, and these are, 2 to 3 minute personalized videos I'm trying to make per day. So it can be done. You just have to prioritize sales because at the end of the day, it really is the most important fundamental thing that's going to grow your business. Of course, you want to help your clients. You want to give them everything and all the expertise you have, but sales has to be like number one if you really want to grow fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's actually a realistic number from Gary, and just perspective that it's not having a 30-minute conversation with 100 people, but
No,
it
of
is
course not.
interacting and building those relationships through Instagram. And that could be, so you just mentioned you're doing videos. I used to use a software. It's like, I forget what it was called. But you could write their name and like say, "Hey, Steele," and then like let the video play. That was popular 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Or voice messages when I started getting into business, sending people voice messages, where you start by saying, "Hey, hey Donna, I just wanted to touch base with you," and sliding in their DMs in a non-cheesy way. Is what it was, it was 3 to 5 years ago that was super, super popular. But I think some of those things still work today if you can do it in a in a way that's integrity to you, like that actually fits your personality, that you can show up for and represent well. If it feels sleazy to you, if it feels like, I can't believe I'm doing this, I feel like an awful person, don't do it. Find a way to tweak it so that it does feel genuine to you, because it will come off better.
Yeah, most definitely. Sherry, just a question for you. You know your audience the best. So, are most people on this Zoom, are they just starting out? Have they been at this for a couple of years? What stage of business are most of your viewers at?
Yeah. So the ones that I'm kind of looking today that are on, have been in business for a little while or just starting, but I would say they're like a bookkeeper. We also have a lot of people that will listen to the replays that are super new, very beginning.
Okay. Okay, got it. Because I wasn't sure really how to gear the messaging. So, I mean, and anybody who's done this for a while, who's still on the Zoom call watching this, that's amazing. And I think continuing to educate yourself in your field is really important because I mean, there's small things that I learn just reading things on the internet about what I do that I'll get into a sales meeting and that customer will ask me that exact question. And I'm like, okay, awesome. I know the answer to this. And it just kind of builds your credibility up more. So yeah, for anybody who's on here and has been doing this for a while, props to you. That's really cool. And if you're new, you're definitely doing the right thing too, getting educated and just kind of staying in the loop and staying motivated. That's really, I think, the purpose of these lives is to keep people, going and feel motivated. And just to know that the struggles that you have are the struggles that we've all had, and that's an important realization to have as well.
Yeah. And I know every 18 months or so, I'll find myself in a rut where like I've just kind of gotten disconnected with what I'm doing for marketing or something like that. And I just need to step back and say, what is my goal? Where am I headed? How do I want to be showing up for my business? And it's okay to change how you're showing up. I remember doing this probably probably going on year 2 in business. I had hit a rut just quoting. I was started underquoting people, and it was bad. So I pulled myself out of it. I did a new website. Don't do that, but I did do a new website. And I just don't think you need to change your website every year. But if you have a website that's not working for you, Steele is definitely your go-to. I wish I had you in my corner then. So I redid my website, redid my branding, and started showing up differently on how I was posting on Facebook. And I got several people who had just been looky-loos watching stuff, unbeknownst to me, show up in my messenger saying, "Oh, I love what you're doing. Keep at it. Like, way to go." And they weren't necessarily business owners themselves, or they were just starting their business, and I'd been kind of in front of them for a while. So sometimes we just got to shake it up. And maybe you aren't talking to enough people to get the results that you want. And so this is just a really good reminder to get back to that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you can go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I was going to see if there was any questions. I don't see anything. If you guys have questions, feel free. I'm watching. If you're on Facebook or if you're in the Zoom, I'm watching for both of those questions. If you guys have any questions directly for Steele about your own marketing, what you tried, what you think you've tried and maybe hasn't worked, maybe we can tweak while we're on today. But go for it still.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, please, I'm an open book. If I can give you a answer for whatever your issue is, I'm happy to help. But I was going to say, when you start a business, it's very exciting. It's an exciting thing to start a business because you're doing this new thing, there's new possibilities. There's a new income source. It's also scary too. There's a lot that goes into it mentally. But something I've noticed is that doing really, really what I call boring tasks, like doing the messaging thing, doing the videos, even if they're very routine things, these boring routine things will actually pay off the most. And that's sometimes not the part of business that they talk about. We always focus on the excitement of it, or how to use this new gadget or something like that. But at the end of the day, a lot of these boring tasks that you stay very committed to and that you do routinely and you make sure you do it, these are the things that are really going to grow your business over time. So again, having almost a goal to talk to X number of people per day, that's really going to pay off at some point for you. So if you're doing that already and it's not working, keep at it, keep going after it. At some point it is going to pay off for you.
Absolutely. We have like a 5-day marketing challenge where we kind of help people have those conversations on Facebook. But it applies everywhere. Sometimes those conversations are, can you do a podcast? Can you get into someone else's audience and add your 2 cents there? Can you help someone? Because content creators and podcasts, just like this one, right? We're always looking for new perspectives or new ways to help our audience. And that's true for bookkeepers, as someone's, teaching people how to run an e-commerce business. Well, their audience needs a bookkeeper. So have they had a bookkeeper on before? If they haven't, that might be and even if they had, might be a really good opportunity to highlight the value of having a bookkeeper. So there's lots of ways to have conversations. The end result is more conversations, give you more opportunities that you can say yes or no to. And you'll be surprised at how many opportunities you're going to be like, oh, I need to say no to that. Because you'll start saying yes to a lot of opportunities thinking they're really good. And sometimes we need to say no so that we can have the real conversations that move our business forward. So as you're having conversations, know that conversations will bring opportunities. And there'll be a time where you need to step into a lot of those opportunities. And there'll be a time where you need to say no. And both of those are okay. So, cool. Well, I don't see any questions yet. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we?
No, I think you pretty much summed it up there. It really, the most fundamental marketing is getting your message to other people. That is the most fundamental, basic thing about marketing besides knowing who your audience is and knowing who you want to serve. So yeah, if you're just communicating, whether that's through ads, whether that's through a website, a Google profile, or wherever you're communicating what you're doing to, the outside world, do as much of that as possible every single day. I would say that that is literally the most important part of getting more exposure and more sales for your business.
I love it. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to open the floor to questions and then I'll see if Allie can jump on to talk about the boot camp next week. But do any of you guys have questions, even if they're not marketing related, that you guys wanted to ask today? Just going to give someone time to find their unmute button, just in case. Okay, cool. Cool. No questions today. Let us know if you guys have bookkeeping questions or questions that you want answered. It never has to be about the topic that we're talking about today as well. So in the future, if you have questions, feel free to let us know. We'll answer those. Allie, are you around? I don't think so. So real quick before we jump off, and actually still real quick, do you want to let them know where they can find you? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. So again, I'm co-owner of Atypical Marketing, along with my other co-owner, Sarah. The best place to find me is actually on my personal Facebook page, Steele James Tortorich. Um, that is the best place to communicate with me. Of course, I'm also on Facebook with atypicalmarketing.com. Atypical spelled with a K instead of a C. If you're able to take a screenshot of this chat, you might be able to pick up the QR code here as well that goes to our website, and our website's atypicalmarketing.com. So any of those places you can reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions or, just to network. So yeah.
I'm going to drop his website in the chat for you guys. Maybe. Oh, just kidding. It's not loading. Here we go. So that's his website. And then he is in the Facebook group. If you're in the moms or the Bookkeeper Blueprint Facebook group, he is in there. So you guys can always tag him and find him there if you're looking for him. Just a reminder, we have a 3-day bookkeeping boot camp next week, which will also cover all things marketing. Kind of taking you deeper into if you're looking at niching or email marketing, just ways to make your efforts work harder for you. That is what we're covering next week. So if you're looking to get started on that, or you're stuck and looking for more direction on how do you actually implement either some of the things that we talked about today, or some of the things that you've heard, bring those up next week. I'll let Allie join real quick to talk a little bit more about it.
Hey guys. Yeah, so boot camp next week. We're super excited. Sorry, totally blanked for a second. We're gonna be really diving deep into like marketing. And I've been talking to a lot of people. I've had a few coaching calls this week, and it's been a common theme that's been coming up is I don't want to be on social media. I don't want my face to be out there. I'm not super comfortable with that. What else can I do? Like, what else can we do to move the needle in the business? And so when Sherry, Megan, and I were kind of like brainstorming this boot camp, we were like, what can we do that's kind of different right now? Nobody is really talking about that we've seen. What can we do? So we thought about what we do. And that's, we focus a lot on email marketing. So we do a lot of email stuff. And so we were trying to figure out like, how can we make this super fun and just like, a free resource for the community where we can give away a ton of information. You guys can take action right away and, start the ball rolling on your marketing in a free 3-day boot camp. So this is what we did. We made this little boot camp. It's going to be super fun. It's 3 days. It starts next Tuesday, right? 28th, 2 p.m. Central. And again, it's free to join. We do have a VIP option, which is awesome because all week I've been working on the freebies that are gonna be given away to our VIPs. Those are gonna be super awesome. It's gonna be packed full of information and you're gonna want to be there. I promise you. At least sign up for the free, for the free part. You don't have to be a VIP. Of course, VIPs are VIPs for a reason, right? So join VIP. We have like email templates that we're going to be giving to the VIPs, literal templates that you can plug and play right into your business. So there's a benefit to being VIP. But again, with our boot camp, we're going to be giving away so much information. You're going to want to be there. Sign up. I mean, I dropped the link earlier. It looks, Sherry just dropped the link. So it's going to be so much fun.
I'm really excited about the email templates because when I started email marketing for my business, I was able to bring people back so in accounting, it can take 6 months to nurture a lead to sign on for you, which is crazy, right? Sometimes
It really is.
So often we think, oh, they're going to sign today. And you definitely have people who are now ready and they're going to sign today. Right. But like I got off the phone yesterday and I walked down and updated Kyle. I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna be one of those 6-month people. Because she is a little going nurturing. To sign, but she's not there yet. She's got some things that she needs to work out first before she signs on. Like she's in 6 weeks, but an email list, just being able to email them, give them tips, nurture them, let them know that you're still there. I think is so important because they can come back to you. I remember early on in my business, I needed something personally done and I had found the person to do it, but I wasn't ready to sign right then that day. And then when I was ready, I was like, what is their name? Who are they? They're the only person I know that does this. I can't find another person who does it. And I was like wishing for an email from them like weekly because it was on my list and I never got an email from them. So,
oh no.
Like email marketing, like
they didn't nurture you enough, right?
No, they didn't. And I really needed their service. And I told them I needed their service. Anyway, I didn't sign that day. So I was blacklisted, I guess. Anyway, so don't blacklist your clients. Help them, make it easy for them to work with you.
You never know, right? You never know. And the best thing about email marketing too is they're opting in to be on your list, right? And they can opt out very easily. So you don't have to worry about being bothersome. And I know that that's a big hurdle that a lot of people have to, like a mental hurdle, right? That a lot of people have to jump over to put themselves out there. Like, I don't want to be a bother. You don't have to worry about it. They're opting into your email list.
They wanted to be on there. They wanted to listen to you because you're becoming the expert in your field, or you had something of value that they really wanted and you're going to give them more.
Yep.
And so they have a reason to stick around. Even if they unsubscribe, not the end of the world. We don't even watch it.
Yeah, because you know what? They're probably going to resubscribe the next time you have an awesome resource that you're going to be giving away, right?
Yeah. And then over time, as they're like, oh yeah, I really don't want to do this anymore. Because remember, business owners go through phases themselves. So email is a great way to stay kind of in their circle. And maybe you shift the services that you're offering. And now 2 years from now, you're offering some additional coaching that's what they wanted all along. And you didn't know that. And they're now the first ones to sign up. So I just,
so much potential with an email list. So much.
I get so excited when bookkeepers are like, oh, I want to start that.
I've had 2 coaching calls this past week and I'm like so excited about next week now. Because I'm like, this is exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
This is going to help you so much.
And we're actually implementing it next week too. So with the VIPs. So.
And we're talking about, if a lot of people start with social media, which is perfect and great. Social media is free. We love for you to start with that. And they have this big audience. We're going to teach you how to get them over to your email list. So we're super excited about that.
I'm excited. So if you haven't joined up, if you're listening on YouTube, Facebook, the link is in the chat, in the comments, both places. If you're already in our group, thank you guys for joining. We love having our Bookkeeper Blueprint members with us live. And it's a great place for you guys to ask questions too. So love seeing you guys. I won't take up any more of your time. But I will see you guys next week, and Megan will be back next week. So we'll do the podcast like normal every week, but we will see you a lot next week for those of you that have joined the bootcamp. So we'll see you almost every day. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy those families that you are serving with your businesses. So, bye, guys.
All right, bye, guys. Talk to you later.